Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is currently 3:20 a.m. on this beautiful summer evening, this beautiful Wednesday evening going into Thursday. It is currently 73 degrees outside. It's not super muggy out tonight. There's a little bit of like a cool breeze in the air that's really nice. And I'm wide awake. Alex and I tonight, we got dinner and we had Maggiano's. We brought it home and we watched RuPaul's Drag Race. And I was like literally falling asleep in the chair watching it. And I thought we had 2 episodes to watch, but we only had 1. And I told Alex, because we were looking for like the second one to see if there was if we were like a week behind. And I said, honestly, honestly, babe, if we have another episode, I don't know that I can make it through it. So, I went upstairs and he came up right after that. He took the trash out and stuff, and then he came upstairs, and that was probably at about 10:30 that I laid down. Yeah, it was 10:30 because I set my alarm for 12. And my alarm went off at 12. And he had been playing his game like the entire time. His little phone game that he likes to play. I need to mail this bill. Post office. HOA fees. So he had been playing on his phone the whole time. And so I got up. We sat there and talked for just a little bit. I went to the restroom and then we talked for like a little bit. Those are sometimes my favorite times of the day, like the fan's on and all the lights are out and he's just kind of like mindlessly playing the game on his phone, and like the dogs are being real sweet and we're just like kind of sitting there talking just about random stuff. And those are sometimes my favorite moments of the day. But anyway, I said, I think I'm gonna sleep for just a little bit longer. And then I woke up at like 2:30 and he was still up playing his game. I said, babe, you're gonna be so tired tomorrow. He said, I know, I need to go to bed. And he had sent me 2 TikToks. He had been watching TikToks too, which I didn't even hear because I was so like asleep and just like out. I brought 2 Diet Cokes with me because I'm going to listen to my audiobook a little bit afterwards if I'm still awake. So we just sat there and I looked on some TikToks and stuff. There's this woman, I don't know who she is. I don't know her name on TikTok, but she cracks me up. So Alex doesn't find her as funny as me, but like, so she does these TikToks with her mom. Her mom is probably like, oh, I don't know that I want to guess, but probably like in her late 60s, early 70s, something like that. And she does these hilarious videos with her mom. And the one that I saw tonight, I just got laughing so hard. She was like, her mom was like trying to get into the car and she locked the door and like she rolled down the window like this much and she said to her mom said, let me in. And she said, it's 100 degrees out here. And she said, you have to dance first. I texted it to Alex. I said, this is so you. Because tonight, the person that got kicked out of a RuPaul's Drag Race, like as they were walking out of the room, like at the very end, they like twerked as they left. And Alex was like, stand up and twerk. And I was like, no. And he was like, just do it. He was like, just stand up and twerk. And I was like, no, you always like do this. You always make me do silly stuff. And he was like, come on. He was like, I love it when you twerk. I'm like, Alex. And he was like, I'm not going to stop asking until you do it. It's like my favorite thing. He like never asks me to do it. Okay. He was just being an ass. So finally I was like, I stood up and I did it. And he goes, do it again. And I go, no, that's all you get. So anyway, so her mom danced. Her mom finally, she said, you have to dance first. And she goes, it's 100 degrees and I'm on Main Street. And she goes, no, you have to dance first. She goes, I don't care, you have to dance first. And so her mom does this little like dance thing. And she goes, it's not good enough. I got laughing so hard. But anyway, we just kind of sat there and talked and hung out with the dogs and talked to the dogs, and then finally I was like, I'm awake. I was like, I'm gonna go vlog. I kind of thought maybe I would vlog in the morning when I got up, but I much prefer vlogging at night. You know, when I was growing up as a kid, I loved to listen to, we don't really have these as much anymore. I mean, Coast to Coast AM and Delilah, I think are, you know, well, I know Coast to Coast AM is still around. Actually, it's on right now. I should look and see if it's on right now. FM, I think it's 93.1 in Indianapolis. Yep, let's see if it's on.
And he actually started having faith in something. And
it is on right now. But anyway, this is the kind of stuff I used to listen to.
Frightening her anymore. And
like when people would call in and stuff. I loved that. It helped me fall asleep. And then there was an episode of Moonlighting. Did you guys ever watch Moonlighting with Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd? That was like one of my favorite shows ever. And there was an episode of Moonlighting when the host, I think it was called like Midnight Caller or something. The host of like a late night radio talk show was murdered, and they had to figure out who it was. And then also like in the movie The Fog, when, what was her name? Was her name Adrienne Barbeau? Is that her name? Well, the host of the radio show that was in the movie The Fog, the original Fog, The Fog, based on a Stephen King novel. I like loved her in that movie so much way back in the day. But I was always just kind of like real obsessed with like late night radio talk shows, and my vlog kind of feels like that a little bit to me in some kind of way. My friend and I, back in the day, I've told this story on here before, we used to get just rip drunk, and we would light a bunch of candles in my apartment, and then we would tape ourselves like we were doing like a radio show. We'd be like, welcome to our radio show. Tonight we're going to talk about Madonna and pop culture, but first, Zombie by the Cranberries. And then we would like play a song. Oh my gosh, look at my hair. I have a hat over here, but you guys, like, I'm so comfortable right now. Do you ever just like wake up and you're like, I must have just had great dreams tonight or something, but do you ever just like wake up and you just feel like it's in the middle of the night and you know you still have all the, well, I mean, I came out to vlog, but you know, you still have like a bunch of time to sleep. You know, it's like that time like right before the sun comes up and it's still like real dark in your house, and you go and you get a glass of water to drink, and then you come back to bed and you like look at the clock and you're like, oh my god, I still have like 2 hours to sleep. And that feeling that's just like so peaceful, and it just comes over you, and you like almost kind of like smile in bed, and you like, you know what I'm talking about? You're like so excited because you're like, oh my god, I still have so much time to sleep. That's kind of how I felt when I came out to the car tonight, and it was so nice. The weather is so pretty. I moved one of my plants from the back to the front, and one from the front to the back, because it wasn't doing, like the one in the front, it wasn't doing very well, and I think it needs more shade. So I put it in on the back patio in the shade, and I mean, it's done well all summer long, but. And so I brought another one of these plants that I had bought like 3 of them from Walmart, and they're these big tropical leaves that are kind of like red and green, and then they have flowers that come out of this plant somewhere. It's like 3 different plants in one. And then it has these kind of like long green vine things that just like hang down, and Alex loves those. And they look really, really cool. Well, I put one over here now where I had that plant. And then I have one over here by the door, but it's like down, like in the ground, like on this, like, I bought those stands that I bought at Menards. And then I have the big fern hanging, and I have the other fern by the door that had the bird nest in it. It's doing really well. And then I have these 2 big like flower things. Our front porch looks so good, if I do say so myself. Like, it looks like a tropical haven, and I'm like so in love with it. I was actually looking at it today, and I was like, the front porch has made me so happy this summer, and I just love to sit out there and like have a cup of coffee. And you know, I haven't read out there as much this summer, and we haven't used our back patio like at all this summer, because Alex did like one night with his mom. She came over and they like hung out and stuff, but that was like a long time ago. It's just, we've had so much rain that, well, this week we haven't really had that much rain, but it's supposed to start raining again, I think tomorrow. Well, it's supposed to rain, and then it's supposed to like, tomorrow it's supposed to be like 92, and then maybe like raining in the afternoon. If I get up and it's sunny, I'm gonna go to the pool tomorrow, because we're supposed to have like a week of like colder weather and then like not as much rain. It's supposed to be like 79, which is so crazy to me in July in Indiana, but whatever. But we haven't used our back patio a whole lot this year, because like we have to put the cushions out, like, or take the cushions out and put them out every time we want to use them, and then put them back in. And it's just kind of a hassle when we don't really, you know. Alex didn't have any plans this weekend. He was like, I'm just gonna like stay at home, and it was funny because we were laughing about this tonight. And he was going to hibernate, he said, and catch up on his TV shows. But tonight, he got invited by his friend to go to this thing in Indianapolis called Rev. And I went the last time they had it. They didn't have it because of COVID and all this stuff. So Rev is like this fundraiser, and they usually have it the weekend before the 500, the Indianapolis 500. And I've only been once, and it's so much fun. It's at the racetrack, and it's like super dressy. Everybody dresses up. My friend Courtney actually invited me, who I just saw at Miss Indiana. She invited me the last time. And they sell out. The tickets like sell out like that, because corporations like buy like a lot of tickets, and then they usually give them to like their workers or whatever, or like they buy they buy like stands and stuff like that of where you can. But there's not like any like tables and stuff like that. You just have like tickets to go, and you walk around, and it's like every major restaurant in Indianapolis has like a booth, and then they might have like 4 or 5 things there at their booth that you can like try. Like Eddie Merlot's, which is like this upscale kind of like wine and steakhouse. They had like sliders, and then they had like some kind of dessert, and then like a side, like french fries or mashed potatoes or something, but it comes in like a little cup and all this kind of stuff. And then they had like a cookie place, and there was literally like probably 50 to 100, well, maybe more than that, like 100 different restaurants there. It was so cool. Then you walk around, and then at the end of the night, like they have this like really famous donut place in Indianapolis that brought donuts out there, and they had like all these donuts like towards the end of the night. And then everybody, they have like a big, like a DJ out on the racetrack, and then everybody dances on the racetrack, which is really, really cool. The last time that we went, Alex's friend that he's going with this weekend, she and Alex and his friend Jason, it was like the 3 of them were like super, super close. And so he went as her date. And then I just like kind of like randomly got invited by our friend at the last minute. And So, anyway, that was like 2 weeks before Alex's friend who, like, he came to our, he came to our house. This was his friend Jason. He came to our house and he picked up Alex, and then he and Alex went and got, like, they all went as a group of friends. There was like three or four of them that were like, well, like on top of all this group that were like really close. And Alex went as the one girl's date, and he's been really close with her ever since, because Alex's friend Jason, 2 weeks after we went to Rev, which would have been 2 years ago, he died in a tragic car accident. So Alex and this girl, this woman, they've been like really close ever since then. So he's going with her, and he was like, I think he thought I was going to be upset about it. He was like, you know, I know you wanted to go, because I had said I would buy us 2 tickets to Rev, but they sold out like that quick. And it goes towards the IU School of Medicine. It's like their pediatric division or something like that. I don't know what it goes for. The tickets are expensive. And I was like, hell, I'll just buy them because we had such a good time. And Melissa and Jason went last time. And we just had like such a fantastic time, and we saw a bunch of friends, and it was just so much fun. But this time, because they canceled it, they're using the tickets from the year before, and so people that had the tickets a year before are the ones that get tickets now or something like that. So anyway, it doesn't matter. But he was like, well, I mean, if I got invited tomorrow, I would probably go. But I'm not upset. I'm happy for him that he's going to get to go and have a good time. Like, that kind of stuff for me is fun to go to, but if I don't go to it, I don't really care either, you know? So, we'll have a good time. I think that's Saturday. I actually was kind of like, okay, I can watch that Frances McDormand movie now that I've been wanting to watch forever. And I rented it tonight, Nomadland. But sometimes I like to get dressed up and sometimes I don't. It just depends. Back in the day, we went to so many things that we had to dress up for. I don't really miss it anymore. Like the getting dressed up and all of that, you know? I mean, I always had a fun time once I was there. But it was always like picking the right thing out, and I've got some really nice suits, though, that I haven't worn for a while. I mean, I'm sure that they probably don't fit me right now, but they will. So that's this weekend that he's doing that. That'll be fun for him. Alex used to go to Zubilation every year. He actually was the media person one year for it. It was, that was like 2 years ago. And Zubilation is this thing for like a fundraiser for the zoo. And everybody dresses like real wild and crazy and stuff. It's so weird because, like, I remember my dad and my stepmom going to it when I was in high school. That's how long the Zubilation has been going on. I've never been to that. It's kind of the same kind of thing. This is the way that I've heard it described, is that it's the same kind of thing, but Rev is like the cooler, like edgier, older sister to Zubilation. I don't know. Or younger sister, I guess. Alex loves doing all that kind of stuff. The fundraisers and the sitting on boards and all that kind of stuff. I did a lot of that, you know, in my youth. In my early 30s, that was a big part of my life. And I did a lot of that, you know. And I would do it today if I was asked. I'm not really asked. So today, the majority of the service work that I do is just in recovery, you know? And I'm completely fine with that. think it's important to pay back or give back to the world in some kind of way. I don't think it doesn't have to be anything deep, you know. It can be like, you know, you recycle at home, or it could be that, you know, you take clothes to Goodwill, or you donate them to, you know, like a homeless shelter or something like that, or donate makeup or books or whatever. But then it could also be that you sit on boards or go to fundraisers or donate money. I mean, all of that, you know, is part of it too. And I think it's just what works best for people. I mean, I've known people in my life, like this friend of Alex's. I mean, she's like, this whole group of them, all of them, they're like always like going, like they sit on a lot of boards and they do a lot of like, you know, volunteer work and service work. I mean, that's like a huge part of how they've all met and become friends through the years. So, like, it's through these, I think that's how Alex met Jason, actually, was through some kind of volunteer work. It's so weird, you know, when you lose a contemporary, because like Jason, I think, was like in his early 40s. So he was between Alex and I's age. And he was just such an enigmatic force. I mean, I wasn't super close to him. I mean, I was close to him because of Alex, you know, and stuff. And he was real tall, and he was a football coach, actually, like, for one of, like, the best football teams here in Indianapolis. But that's not what he did for a living. Like, he volunteered as a football coach because he had played football in college. And, you know, to see this friendship, like, Alex and I have both been really blessed to have some heterosexual male friendships, like, or friendships with heterosexual males that have, like, just been really, really cool relationships, you know? And I mean, like, this guy was like a brother to Alex. I mean, he loved and cared about Alex and vice versa. And he was just such a neat guy. It's so crazy. Like, I can just see him standing there, like, in our living room. And like, they were going early, and I hadn't even started getting ready yet to go to Rev. And he had just broken up with his girlfriend, like, the week before. And I was asking him about that, and we were sitting there talking, and he was showing me his suit that he had custom made. He was really proud of the suit. And he's like, yeah, I got a suit guy. If you ever need a suit, let me know. I got a suit guy. And the entire inside of the suit was like all, like the outside of the suit, I feel like it was like a dark, like a navy blue suit, and then like the inside was all like checked, and it had his name in it too. Jason had his name like sewn into the suit. He was a really cool guy. But it's crazy sometimes, you know, like when you like lose people, because there are moments where it doesn't feel like they're gone. Like, I'll be in a crowd and I'll like see somebody that, so Jason was real tall and he was bald, and so from the back I feel like I see a lot of people that kind of look like him, and I'll be like, and I'm like, oh, you know, it's like the same thing with like my mom. Like, all of the moments through the last 14 years, it doesn't happen to me as much anymore, but it did happen for a while, where I would feel like, oh, I'm gonna call my mom and tell her about this show that I watched, or this, or whatever, you know? thinking about all the people that I've lost, and like random times I think about calling them, you know. It's always weird when I like meet people like in my neighborhood, and I'll say like, because my aunt and uncle lived like 1 block from where I live like my whole life, and so I'm like, they moved after my mom passed away, and I'm like, well, this is real. So like whenever I'm talking to people, you know, I'm like in the pool and stuff, I'm always like, so have you lived here for a long time? You know, and they'll be like, oh, well, I used to live over in such and such area and whatever. And I'm like, oh, my aunt lived like, you know, on such and such street. And they're like, oh, and then they'll ask me like who my aunt or uncle was, you know, if they're friendly. And interestingly enough, this woman the other day, she was talking about how her sister almost moved into our condos, but she ended up moving into this other place, which we actually just passed not too long ago. And I was like, oh my God, that's where my aunt and uncle moved. Actually haven't, you know, it's been a while since I have lost somebody. Knock on wood, right? Say our prayers. Do you know what's interesting when I drive through Zionsville is, with all these cute houses and all these cute little stores and everything, I don't see an ice cream store. I mean, I'm sure there is one. But isn't that funny? You think it'd be like right out there. But you know what I was craving today? SpaghettiOs. I don't even know why. SpaghettiOs and a peanut butter sandwich. And I was thinking how much fun it would be to go to the library when I could have just gone to the library, you know, and then come home and had like SpaghettiOs and a peanut butter sandwich. That's kind of like what I did in the summers when it like rained outside, you know. I don't know about the SpaghettiO part, but do you remember when people used to boil hot dogs in a pan on the stove? Or pot on the stove? I don't know why I was just thinking that. I was thinking because like in the summer I had hot dogs a lot for lunch and stuff, you know? And I look back on that and I think it's so funny, like, at what point did we get a microwave? I don't even know, but I can remember like slicing the hot dog down the middle, because if you didn't, it would kind of like blow up. Do you remember that? I've had some good like barbecues this summer. That's been really nice because, you know, I've been able to have like a vegetarian hamburger, a vegetarian like hot dog or brats. It's been really nice. I don't know if I'll have another one this summer. I'd like to. But it's been fun. Now when I drive through here, I'm gonna look and see if there's like an ice cream place. You know, I bought ice cream like, well, when I went to Meijer the other day. So it's been, I don't know, a couple days. And I got the Netflix and Chilled. It's like one of my favorites. I don't know what I got the last time, but it was literally like this white brownie was on top of it. Oh my God, it was like white chocolate chip brownie, like Blondie. Maybe that's what it was called, Blondie. It was so good. I never had that kind of ice cream before. I always get Ben & Jerry's. Here's this Rosie's place, which everybody talks about. I feel like maybe at the end of the strip, there's an ice cream place. It stopped. I didn't even know I was at the end, but we were just passing the Scoop back there, which was this little house. It's so cute. And you know what's so funny is it reminds me of when Alex and I went to Connecticut, and we went into this little town like the first day, and we ate, and we had ice cream, like this little ice cream shop that looked like that, like a little house in the corner. We like ice cream in there. Do you know what's so crazy is that was probably one of the best trips I've ever had. Like when I think back on like trips that like stick in my head, you know, there's Bubs, they have ice cream too. When I think about trips that like stick in my head, and maybe it was because I went into that trip with like no expectations whatsoever. I don't know. You know, I think about, well, I've been thinking about trips a lot lately because I just read that book called People We Meet on Vacation. And so it's about these two friends that they like over the course of 12 years, they take one summer vacation together. And they take summer vacations everywhere from like New Orleans to Nolens to like British Columbia to Sanibel Island to Tuscany. I mean, they take trips all over the world, right? And like the things that they enjoy doing on a trip, it like made me really start thinking about this with Alex and I. Because like I don't know that I would have gone into the relationship thinking that this was something that was important, but it has been something I think that has been important, is that Alex and I are really great travelers together. Like we travel together so well. Like we get so excited. We are like so in sync on traveling. The way that we check in, the way that we like keep our hotel room very, very clean is important to both of us. You know, just the way that we think, like each bringing like, you know, smaller backpacks so we can do little day trips or little day things throughout the day. You know, meeting people on our trip, trying new restaurants, I mean, we like travel very, like, we think the same way, you know? If he wants to go and do something, or if I want to take a nap, like, we just allow the other person to, like, really enjoy the trip as well. And I think, like, it's always a way for us to kind of refresh our relationship a little bit going on vacation, which is so fun. You know, it's always good for us, and it's romantic, you know, and intimate, and it's nice. And we always get excited about trips. And I was thinking about that, you know, like, when reading that book. And the trip that we went to Connecticut a couple years ago, I can't even, to be honest with you, remember what the town was called. I vlogged the whole time, so I'm sure that I should go back and watch those vlogs. To see if I enjoyed it as much at the time that I do looking back on it, because I remember I wasn't real excited about the trip. I'm sure I didn't say that in the vlog at the time, but I just remember being like, it's just whatever, we're going to Connecticut. Like, I didn't really think anything about it. And Alex was like, I feel like we rented some car too that was like, kind of like, we usually kind of rent like a fun car, like a Jeep Wrangler or something like that. And I feel like it was just like, well, it was all through Alex, like, it was like a convention, like continuing education credits for Alex, and it was all about like marketing and stuff like that. So he was gone all day, and it was like 3 days, and we stayed at this bed and breakfast. I think we got there on like a Sunday, and it was like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we flew out on like a Thursday or something like that. And the town that we went to, like the little old town, was like, we ate at this restaurant that was supposedly like the first restaurant ever opened on like in Connecticut or something like that. And then we walked around this little town that was like one of the first towns like on the ocean. It was real cute. We stayed in this bed and breakfast. I mean, the room wasn't anything to brag about. I mean, it was cute. It had like this 4-posted bed. And I can remember I sat on the floor at night when he would go to bed, and I would stay up on the computer and watch like movies that I had downloaded. And I had a bunch of candy and stuff, and we had a little patio that looked out over the woods, and I can remember I would step out there and look into the woods late at night, and I would drive around, and I would like like upload my vlogs that way because I must have vlogged. I think I did drive around and vlog at night too, in the rental car. I remember I wanted a Starbucks so bad and I couldn't find Starbucks, so I put it like in that Around Me app, and there was like a town, like this town that we were in was very small and cutesy. It was like all the houses were like super cute, Cape Cods with like big yards, big trees. It was kind of in the woods. Well, it wasn't kind of, it was in the woods. But the next town over was like very suburban. And so I remember I went over there one day. I needed like some kind of cord or something for the car, like an auxiliary cord or something. And I turned the heat on and now it's super hot in here. And I wanted like Starbucks really bad. Oh, no. I was having such a hard time uploading my videos that I would have to drive around and upload them on my car. But like if I stopped in one place, they wouldn't really upload that fast. So I had to drive up and down the strip, and I would literally go down, turn around, come back, and it was like 10 minutes one way, 10 minutes the other way. And it would take me like 20, 25 minutes to upload a video. So I would film all my videos and I would upload them. And I remember I went to the Starbucks and I was like working there that day, uploading videos and stuff, and this girl came up to me and she like almost started crying, and she was like, "Are you Peter Monn?" And I was like, "Yeah." This was like one of the first times that I ever got like noticed in public, that anybody ever came up and said anything to me. She was so sweet. And she like, I think she got a picture with me, I can't remember, but she said, I watch your videos. And I said, "Oh, you do?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I said, "What channel?" And she said, "My Peterisms channel." And she looked at me with like tears in her eyes, and she was like, "You have no idea how much you've helped me. Please don't ever stop." Like, she's like, "Please don't ever stop making videos on that channel." And you know what, I will tell you this, that there are days that I'm getting to the end of my day, because you know I don't film over there every day, but I try to film over there a lot. There are days that I get to the end of the day and I'm like, you know, kind of tired, and I'm like, okay, I won't do a Peterisms video today, but I already have my meditation books out, and I'm like, you know what, like, I always think of her, and I'm like, you know what, maybe there's somebody out there that needs to hear these meditations tonight, you know, maybe there's somebody out there that this will help them. And I always think of her. And then I don't know why it was just such a cool trip. I just love that bed and breakfast. I had always like thought the idea of staying at a bed and breakfast would be fun, but I was also kind of like very apprehensive about it too. Like, I never really wanted to do it. And then that one I think was kind of like a comfortable one, because I was always like worried about staying in a bed and breakfast where it was like you're literally in the house with the people and there's like 3 rooms and then them. Do you know what I mean? But this wasn't like that. This was like run by somebody. There was like, it was like a big house when you pulled up to it, and then there were 2 big houses in the back. I mean, like big houses that didn't even look like houses. They looked like, the downstairs of ours had like 4 rooms and the upstairs had like 3 or 4 rooms. So it wasn't like they were just that, like they were built to be part of this bed and breakfast. But the main house was so cute. And I always remember having those. There were some kind of like funky potatoes too that I had that were really good. But I remember sitting there and drinking my coffee, and I had brought some book with me. And oh, it was, you know what? God, it must have been around this time several years ago, because that Sunday started a booktubeathon. I don't know how I just remembered this. But like that Sunday was when booktubeathon started. I think that was why I didn't want to go, because I had always done booktubeathon. I think it was, we went like 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago maybe. But I didn't want to go because of booktubeathon, and I didn't want to miss out on booktubeathon. And so I remember it like started while we were on that trip. I also remember that I listened to the James Patterson book that he wrote with President Clinton. called The President Is Missing. And I remember that was the audiobook that I listened to on that trip, and it was really good. And I had lemon verbena pancakes. I don't know how I remember all of this. And I can see the coffee cup that I drank the coffee out of at the little restaurant. It was like this little white, like, China coffee cup. It was like so cute. And I could smell it in there, because I went in there to like try to use the Wi-Fi, which sucked in that place, which is why I ended up going to Starbucks. But it kind of smelled a little bit to me like Connor Prairie, which is the prairie settlement here in Indianapolis, and it had like these creaking wood floorboards and stuff. I just loved that trip. I don't know what it was about that trip. I really don't. Isn't it funny sometimes when you look back on like why you loved a trip so much, you know, or why you love something so much? It's like I was thinking about this the other day. It's like last summer was so good. And this summer I'm having a lot of fun too. But like even tonight, like I can't start doing this because then I start like getting real upset about stuff. But like tonight, I was like, I had thought about going to the pool for a night swim. And I was like, no, I don't really feel like, you know, putting my bathing suit on or my swimsuit on and going up there. If I say bathing suit, people are like, what is it? It's like 1940 or 50. So I was like, no, like, I'm not going to go up there tonight. And, but I have this idea, I think, of what the summer was going to be like. And it was going to be a pool day and I've gone to the pool quite a bit, you know. But I thought it was going to be like a pool day every single day. And watching movies and shows in the evening. And I feel like summer's kind of going by. And I just don't want it to be like all of a sudden it's November and then it's like I'm praying for summer again, and yet it's another summer that's gone by. You know what I mean? Like I don't want that to be the case. So I've got to make sure that I enjoy this last month of August. Because we've got 5 weeks left until the pool's closed. We haven't really had tons of really nice days this summer either, which has been the other problem. But at night, I mean, who cares about like how sunny it is at night, you know? So like, as far as going night swimming, I'm gonna start going night swimming a lot more. I think one thing would be like, as far as moving to Florida, is like the summer doesn't really end. And so I think for me, there's something as I get older. I love fall, don't get me wrong, and I love the weather of fall and the clothing of fall and all that kind of stuff, but there's something to me about just getting up and the sunshine and getting a coffee and being by the pool and all that kind of stuff that just, I love that, right? And, you know, in Florida, you can do that till October, early November. I mean, you could do it till, you know, all year round, probably, but for where it's still really warm. I do think that one of the things that Alex and I are going to try to start doing is, you know, we travel a lot in the spring and the summer, and I think in like planning a trip like in the late fall and then one in like the early winter as well. Like I'd really like to plan a trip like in October to go to Florida to rent a house. That last year, was that last October? I feel like that was last, yeah. I mean, that was such a blast. That was another Connecticut trip, you know? Where it was just like, I don't know, maybe it was because my expectations were, I didn't have any expectations really going into it. You know, I was excited about the house that we rented, and I was excited about the pool and the sitting outside and all that kind of stuff was fun, but like, it was so nice just to be us away, you know, and go and get a bunch of food and just sit there and watch movies, and you know, we just had such a good time on that trip. It was so much fun. So I think maybe we would like to do something like that in October, and then also maybe, because if you rent a house, I mean, I'm not saying that we wouldn't, like, you know, get a condo somewhere or something. But if you rent a house and then it rains and you're stuck inside the house, it's okay, because it's like, you know, you got areas to do stuff, and you've got a pool that you can still go into even if it's raining. You know, I went into the pool that year or last October when it rained. We just didn't love that area that we were in, that Lauderdale by the Sea area. I think if we were more in Fort Lauderdale, or more between Fort Lauderdale and Miami, I think we would really enjoy it. And then maybe do like a trip like, well, Ultra's in Miami is in March. And we're doing that with Jason and Melissa. Bow, 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 bow. I am like so wide awake. But I sleep 4 hours. I'm gonna have a hard time going back to sleep tonight. Oh well. I might just have to stay up all night long. I was thinking to myself that it would be, you know, like maybe I should sit down and make a list of all the things I still want to do this summer, you know, like, so that I felt like, okay, at the end of the summer I could look back. But then it's like, I don't know, that's like a couple years ago. I made a list of all of the Christmas movies that I wanted to watch during the Christmas season. And then after I would watch it, I would like cross it out. I would be like, okay, I got that one done. You know what I mean? But it's just like I want to like do every fun thing, you know? I don't want to look back and be like, well, I didn't do this or I didn't do that or whatever. Crazy to me, like how many things like kind of never changed back after COVID. Like the hours of things being open. Like, you know, there were so many places in Indianapolis, like fast food places and stuff like that, gas stations that were open late, that have really never gone back to fully being open. Like Meijer, I don't think. Grocery stores, I don't think any of those places are back open to being open 24 hours a day like they were before. There's some fast food places, you know, Taco Bell and whatever, but like here at Steak and Shake, it used to be open 24 hours. I don't even think their inside is open anymore. I don't know. Maybe I never see anybody at Steak and Shake. And I wonder, you know, like, in being at home all that time, and did we realize that maybe we just don't need those places as much anymore? You know, that we just don't, like, enjoy going out to eat as much, or we don't need to be out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning going grocery shopping? Like, what happened? Like, what changed, you know? I mean, back in the day, these chairs, the very back, our fold-out chairs for the summer to watch fireworks are, like, rattling back there. They're driving me nuts. But it's like, I know that they're having a hard time getting people to work certain shifts. I know that that's a part of it. Okay, so that makes sense to me, right? But as far as like the hours of keeping places open, if it's not about that, like when I used to drive around Indianapolis, like to vlog and whatever, like at 4:10 in the morning on like a Wednesday in Indianapolis, I mean, there are places where there are bars that just closed, like, you know, half an hour or so ago, or an hour ago, and you know, people stood outside and talked or got food at food trucks and stuff and whatever. It is not like that anymore. It is dead. White Castle up here at Castleton, I think they're only open 24 hours on Fridays and Saturdays, like when the clubs are like open in that area and stay awake. That's the only time. Denny's, I drive by, it's open 24 hours a day. I never see anybody in Denny's. I don't know how Denny's is making it. I literally never see anybody in Denny's. I don't know. But I think also, I think a lot of people realized that they just kind of enjoy being at home more, you know, or they enjoy the simpler life more, or whatever, you know. We don't go out to dinner, I mean, hardly at all. I mean, we really don't. Like, back in the day, we used to go out to dinner 3 to 5 times a week. True story. We would meet somewhere, you know, for dinner, or we would go out, 3 to 5 times a week. And now we do brunch on Sundays at Patashu or at Roost or someplace, but usually always at Patashu. We do brunch on Sundays, and then dinner with Jason and Melissa once throughout the week, maybe. And other times we bring food home. Like, I honest to God, I cannot remember the last time that, like, Alex just texted me and was like, we just kind of stopped that. I don't know why. And was like, hey, you want to go to dinner or whatever. Like, we just don't do that anymore. We saved a lot of money that way. But we used to go to Cheesecake Factory. But, well, the other thing is this, is that, you know, like, most of the time we go to eat later, like 8:39, and most of the restaurants in Indianapolis now, they close at 9 or 10. And so when you go in there to get a table, they stopped taking tables at 8:30, so it's hard to get in places anymore, you know? It's like, I love this place called Brew Burger, and we used to go there after meetings sometimes. They close at 9 o'clock. Our meeting gets out at 9 o'clock, you know? So, that was the place that had the Impossible Burger that you could get it on anything. I think also when Alex and I first got together, because we really went out to eat a lot then, but it was like we would work out and then we would go we would go get something to eat. We went to this Bar Louie a lot, and we would get salads, like Caesar salads, chicken Caesar salads. And that was when we were eating like really healthy, and I was working out every day. And we would get smoothies, because I would always get a green tea matcha green tea smoothie. And I should do Smoothie King as a review. I haven't gone to Smoothie King in a while. That sounds kind of good. Maybe I'll go there tomorrow. Because I haven't had it for a while, and I don't really kind of like remember even what it tastes like. I mean, I know what a smoothie tastes like, but you know what I mean? And then we would go to Applebee's a lot too, because I was paying off, like, you know, debt and trying to get rid of, you know, credit card debt, which I've talked a lot about on here. So like date night would be, we would go to like an early movie, and then we would go to Applebee's and eat, because the early movie was cheaper than the late movie. And then we would go to Applebee's and we would do like the 2 for $20, which is where you get like an appetizer, you know, and an entree and 2 drinks or whatever for $20. That was like a date night for us back in the day. Like, we really tried to save money, which we did. We saved a lot of money. And then we started going to, we started going out to eat a lot. Speaking of Applebee's, there it is. I haven't been to Applebee's in a long time. You know, strangely enough, Alex and I didn't eat a lot of fast food when we first got together. We would eat Steak and Shake on our way home from going out. But other than that, and maybe Taco Bell every once in a while on our way home. But other than that, we didn't really eat a lot of fast food. I was much healthier back then. It's time for me to pull it together. My God, this restaurant, La Peep. I used to go here with my friends back, well, not this one, but the one downtown. I used to go there with my friends back in the day after we would go out. I mean, this was when I was still drinking. And they had these breakfast skillets that were so good. They had like eggs and onion and, you know, all cheese and all kinds of things. You know, you know what a breakfast skillet kind of deal is now. But then they had cinnamon toast that was unbelievable, and coffee. Oh my God. I just love brunch so much. I love going to brunch and getting like a really good cup of coffee in a mug. Don't get me wrong, I love a good, you know, paper cup or whatever, but to like sit at a restaurant and have like a mug of coffee. The other place that I really like that I haven't been to a lot is the place that Sarah took me to, the brunch place. Why can't I think of where it's called? I got the really fun drink there. It was like purple. They have kind of healthier food in there. I'm kind of craving that. Why can't I see it in my head, but I can't think of what it is. My aunt and uncle used to go to that exact same restaurant way back in the day. It used to be Sunrise Cafe. And they would go there and eat brunch a lot. And then, you know, it was so funny. Later in life, my aunt Kathy and Uncle Dave, they really, really liked Bob Evans. And they would go to Bob Evans a lot for brunch. Which, I don't know why that just cracked me up so much, but it did. Okay, the battery is starting to die. And I don't know that I brought 2 other batteries with me, but I don't know. I think, yeah, but I'm not sure if they're charged or not. So I'm just gonna get off here now because I'm like a minute away from this being, at an hour anyway or something like that. So I'm gonna get off here now. And, yeah. I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Thursday. Now I can't think of that brunch place that's driving me crazy. What's the name of that brunch place Sarah took me to? It's like the Great Northern or the Far East or something like that. What's that place called? Look, I'm gonna have to look it up now. But anyway, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Is it gonna die? I have to look it up. I have to know what this place is. Indianapolis brunch. 82nd. Straight, let's see what it tells us. La Peep, Denny's, Starbucks, Yolk, Panera Bread. First Watch! It's called First Watch. I love that place. Anyway, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Thursday. And be kind to one another, and always, like it says in the 4 agreements, always lead with love. And I love you guys so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! And of course, for anybody that needs to hear it, one more I love you. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!